All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to what was the big story of the day. Everybody's known for the last couple of weeks that Davante Adams wanted out of Las Vegas. He wanted to be traded. The number one targeted area that everybody knew was probably going to be the New York Jets because he wants to be reunited with Aaron Rodgers, because he and Aaron Rodgers had tremendous success together. I think there was a couple of years streak where in those years, as a receiver quarterback combo, they were number one in yards, number two in touchdowns, something like that. Like, they had incredible success together. Well, it happened. The trade got done this morning. It got announced that Davante Adams has been traded from the Las Vegas Raiders over to the New York Jets for pocket change. What do you say? A round three,
third rounder, and
that could become a second round pick.
Yeah, and then the Jets will pay for his salary this year.
And the Jets got to pick up a salary, which is
$11 million.
One of the big things to consider. And just like when Aaron Rodgers went to the New York Jets, the sports media world is going nuts over, oh my God, the Jets are contenders now. I was one of the lone guys in the desert, and I felt like everybody thought I was an idiot. When the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, what do you think this is going to improve? Like, does Aaron Rodgers still have some magic left? Absolutely. But he's a quarterback who's now well past his prime. He couldn't get the Packers to the playoffs in his final year, and the very next year with Jordan Love picking up, they did make the playoffs without him. Then he had a brutal injury last year. He got another year older, and I'm sorry, but this year, he is, at best, an average quarterback. He has the 22nd ranked QBR in the league. He's got a 50.3 QBR, which puts him at 22nd in the league. For the first time in a long time that I can remember, his touchdowns to interception ratio is less than 2-1. He's got like 9 touchdowns and 5 picks. And the problem is his picks that he's throwing at the worst possible times. He cannot move the way he used to. I mean, he used to be able to make magic happen in the pocket. He cannot move the way he can. I'm sorry, his arm ain't as strong and he ain't as accurate as he used to be. He is a mediocre quarterback. And that game against the Buffalo Bills last night, I'm sorry, just kind of highlight. But John, what about that end of the first half when he threw the 50, whatever yard? That was a pure dumbass luck Hail Mary that he just tossed up into the end zone, and he got lucky that his receiver got there and pulled it down. Is what it is. Did you know, too, that Aaron Rodgers has now gone 28 games in a row without throwing for 300 yards? That is the longest active streak in the NFL. That is the longest active streak in the NFL. 28 straight games without being able to throw for 300 yards. And you can say, well, he came within a couple last night. Yeah, that's because there was a horseshoe possession. He tossed up a 50-plus yard Hail Mary that somebody pulled down and he got credited with the yards. Even then, he still didn't get to 300 yards. And I'm sorry. I watched Aaron Rodgers up at the podium throwing his receiver under the bus, blaming the receiver for the interception at the end. I'm sorry. I was talking to Ryan before the show started. I've rewatched that replay several times. That receiver had nothing but oceans of green between him and the end zone. He was there for the take, and Aaron Rodgers just brutally underthrew the ball. Brutally underthrew the ball. So not only did they not what would have been an automatic touchdown, that was one of the best interceptions I've seen this year.
Yeah,
that was a crazy acrobatic interception.
Yeah.
But still ends up throwing a pick, ends the game when they were on the march and could have tied it and stuff like that. And I again, this is just the New York Jets. And now that you've added Davante Adams, we're hearing everybody saying again, oh, now this is it. This is taking them to the promised land. No, it's not. Because I don't care if that was Davante Adams running that route. It was Aaron Rodgers still underthrows the ball. Aaron Rodgers is still not even in the top 10 of yards passing. He's still making bad decisions. The offensive line is mediocre. I mean, they're not bad, but they're certainly not good.
You got hit twice pretty bad last night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not great. And you think throwing in Davante, by the way, a 32-year-old wide receiver coming off of a hamstring injury who hasn't been that Davante Adams we remember from 4 years ago, he hasn't been that guy in a while. And so I just don't see, look, Do I think the Jets improve getting Davante Adams? Yeah. I mean, they're a little bit better today than they were yesterday. But they're a little bit better today than they were yesterday. It does not fix the fundamental problems that team has. Now, granted, what do they give up? 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
Okay, and they pick up a bunch of salary. But okay, I would have made that move too. I think that's a decent move. But I just think you're a special kind of crazy again if you think this fundamentally changes the New York Jets. It does not fundamentally change the New York Jets. And way out of his prime, not over the hill, just way past his prime, quarterback who's now a middle-of-the-road quarterback in the NFL with a 32-year-old wide receiver who hasn't played his best football in years and is coming off a hamstring injury. And you think that's going to take you to the promised land? I don't get it, and I don't see it. Ryan, the culture at the Jets is just bad. And you know what? I heard one sports commentator say this morning, I feel bad that I forget who it was, but you want to know the difference between a true champion and somebody like Aaron Rodgers? When Tom Brady imported into Tampa Bay, right? So Tampa Bay brought him in. He brought a winning culture with him. Because what did he do? He broke team rules, league rules, and maybe the law by getting his teammates together in the offseason at a high school football field so they could start to build chemistry. That's what Tom Brady did. You know what Aaron Rodgers did? During mandatory workouts, he took a trip to Egypt. While the rest of the team was doing mandatory workouts, he took a trip to Egypt. That is the difference between a true champion, a 10-time Super Bowl appearing quarterback, and a one-time Super Bowl appearing quarterback who is well past his prime at this point. Anyway, I think I must be taking crazy pills. Everybody thinks I'm nuts for saying that I don't think this move is going to vastly improve them or change the fate of the New York Jets. And by the way, I still think the Jets make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They still have one of the league's best defenses. Aaron Rodgers can put up numbers sometimes. I think they're going to win some games. I think they might even get to the playoffs. But I just don't think adding Davante Adams drastically improves his team. It's a marginal improvement at best. How do you see it?
I think it will help them. It helps spread the field more. So now with Garrett Wilson and him and Lazard and Breeze at running back, I think they have more weapons. You can't deny how good Adams was with Rodgers in Green Bay at that time.
They were a lethal combination.
That combination, and they had a connection, even like just obviously playing with each other, but knowing where each other is on the field and all that. I think now it comes back to what you said with the age. Can Rodgers still play at a level to match what Adams can do? He's coming off a hamstring injury. He is 31 or 32.
32.
But he hasn't really. I mean, in Vegas, they haven't really had a good quarterback since Carr left. So can they both put up those same numbers that they used to? And we'll have to see. But I don't know. This is like the last thing that the Jets could do. The trade deadline is, 20 days away from now? So
yeah, 20.
I don't know what else they could do to improve their team. They've already got rid of their coach and all that. So this is basically it. They have.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
There was another receiver available that the Buffalo Bills went out to get. Amari Cooper. He's a Bill today. That was the other big trade.
Yeah. Same 3rd round pick. Same thing.
3rd round pick. Okay.
Yep.
Bills got the best of it. And I'll tell you why. Amari Cooper's not just younger by a couple of years. Last year on the Browns, Amari Cooper caught for over 1,250 yards. Yeah. 1,250 yards with Joe Flacco as his quarterback for much of that, and Deshaun Watson for some of it. Now, this year's been a struggle because Deshaun Watson is legitimately one of the worst football players in the NFL, and they're not going to do anything with him as quarterback. You watch Amari Cooper with a Josh Allen. I honestly, I get it. Davante and Aaron have history. Yeah. They have chemistry. They have a shorthand with. I do get that. But I think their better move would have been to get Amari Cooper.
I would stick with Adams just for the connection, and you're basically giving Rodgers his guy. So now there's no excuse. Well, we could have got Adams, but we got Cooper. So I think you give him who he wants. They have the history. Well, let's see what they can do. Hopefully open up the field and see if Rodgers can be somewhat like he used to be.
Right.
And we'll see.
All right, guys. The question is for you. What do you think about this? Amari Cooper goes to Buffalo, but the headline today is Davante Adams reunites with Aaron Rodgers. Listen, take nothing away. What those two were able to accomplish together on the field, they put up some bonkers numbers years ago. I don't know. What do you think about this? Good move, bad move? I think it's a good for a third round pick, and it does marginally improve your team. I like the move. I just don't think it's going to make the difference that some other people think it's going to make. However you guys feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.